you'll need to disconnect the rose joint from the gearbox, and then if you can manipulate the gear change on the gearbox by hand, make sure it shifts through all the gears that way. That eliminates any problem with the gearbox itself, and if it's still having problems, it's going to be down to the cable. To begin with, you need to undo this bolt here in the gear lever. What you should have received is a small M6 screw with a pointed end. You can install that in here in place of this silver bolt. That then locks the gear lever in place so that it won't be able to move forwards or backwards when you're adjusting the cable. With the cable disconnected from the gearbox and the stop screw installed in the gear lever here, you need to adjust the cable at the gear lever end here using these screws so that the gear cable here, this rose joint, is in line with the plate that it needs to be bolted to. What you don't want to do is start pulling this part here through the outer to get the rose joint to line up. Once the gear cable has been attached to the gearbox again after it's been set up correctly, you can then remove the stop screw from in here and replace the silver Allen bolt. The next thing you need to do is set up the movement on the gear lever itself, which is done on these two points here. So once everything's installed, you can adjust the throw on the gear lever. To do that, keep the gear cable connected to the gearbox. Move the gear lever either forwards or backwards, it doesn't matter which one first. Push it all the way forwards or pull it all the way rearwards and hold it in place. Once it's selected gear, you can then adjust either the front or the rear adjustment screws, and what you do when you wind this in, wind that in until you can feel it pressing on the gear lever and trying to move it. So if you push the gear lever forwards, wind in the rear stop until you can just about feel it touch the gear lever. Once it's touching the gear lever, wind it in maybe another quarter to a half a turn and lock it off. That's now set. Repeat the process for the opposite direction, so if you've pushed forwards first, pull backwards on the next time and adjust the opposite screw.